How about the Las Vegas Raiders, everybody? How about Pete Carroll? That first drive with Geno.
Ooh, that looked good.
It looked really good. And then the autumn wind began to blow in the direction of the Patriots.
It was an ugly weather day in Foxborough.
It was an ugly weather day. Ashton Genty didn't have a game for the ages, but did pop in the end zone. Yep. Brock Bowers, bro.
Beast.
That's all I have to say about that is Brock Bowers, bro.
Well, let's hope he's okay.
And I understand. Geno. This is why they went ahead and got Geno Smith. The stabilization at the most important position, a lead pipe wielding old head pro. And that's what he's becoming. 362 yards. Holy cow. Like, he can throw it. Like, last year, it's like, who's going to be the quarterback? Who's going to be the next one? After Derek Carr got sent home by the offensive coordinator of yesterday's Patriots game. You know, this is why Pete went ahead and did this, and it's just great to see Pete Carroll getting his due and getting that win. And now, next up for him is the Los Angeles Chargers. Both teams 1-0. It's a Monday night, or 1 week from tonight.
That's a really fun
It's
game.
the Pete Carroll home opener as the Vegas Raiders before they have to fly all the way back across the country to Washington, D.C., where, again, his first playoff win as the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks with Russell Wilson as the starter was in that building. Before he's got to fly all the way back to Vegas, and then they got to fly all the way to Indianapolis. They're logging a lot of frequent flyer miles, but it doesn't matter if the coach is the wind beneath your wings. How about that?
Also, when you're not flying, coach, it helps too.
You know, I understand.
Man.
But in all seriousness, that's a nice win for the Las Vegas Raiders, who will hopefully only continue to get better. But you got to give it up. When they went and got Geno, a lot of people are like, "Really? Is that your choice?" Yeah, that's the choice. That's the choice. Pete trusts him. He trusts Pete, or he knows Pete. Chip Kelly's dialing it up. Let's go. I like it.
Pete, first coach ever, 4-0 in all of his debuts. Patriots, Jets, Seahawks, now Raiders.
Really?
Won all of them.
Football's better when the Raiders are good, man.
Yeah,
totally agree.
The Pirates.
Totally agree.
And then your Pats, man. I mean,
it wasn't great. Wasn't great. Drake May needs to calm down. He seems like he's one of those guys who's like really amped before games. He's airmailing dudes to start.
Career high 46 pass attempts. That's not what they're looking to do.
That's not what we're looking to do. Got to run the ball more. Look, there's not a lot of good players on the Patriots, so it's going to take some time. Optimism has been toned down a little bit. But, it seems like it's a 6 to 8 win team, maybe at the high end. Still believe in Vrabel. Still believe in the path we're on. That would have been nice to get that one yesterday.
362 pass yards, the most by a Raiders quarterback at his team debut. The last time the Raiders beat the Patriots in New England.
Ooh.
The Raiders head coach was Art Shell. Their quarterback was Jeff Hostetler. It was Week 6, 1994.
Jeez.
Wow.
That's what Pete did in the place that once upon a time told him, we're done.
All right. We talked about a revenge game win for Aaron Rodgers. Pete Carroll went back to New England, and so did Jacoby Myers, and they put a whooping on that team. Geno Smith, their quarterback, threw for 362. And Ray, I'll ask you as our GM here, Antonio Pierce, who coached Vegas last year and is now with us at CBS, said during the pregame that Pete Carroll got his quarterback, and that went a long way in getting this team to where it needs to be at least 1 week through the season. Obviously, that's important, but was Geno instrumental in sort of turning this thing around, and how does it look going forward? Because I love Geno Smith, but I don't know if he has enough to overcome the shortcomings his defense has had in recent years.
Yeah, well, all Geno can do is make sure that the offense is scoring enough points to win, right? Like, he can't control whether the defense is playing well. He has to do his part, and I think this version that we're seeing of Geno Smith is enough to help the Raiders win. Now, I don't know that the Raiders are going to be a 10-win team. I think they will hover around that 7-8 game win level. But I think Geno is going to be a big part of that as to why they are at least winning these games. I think he is one of the better downfield throwers of the football that we have in this league, and he has the weapons, on the perimeter that can do that. And so even them losing Amari Cooper a couple days before, the first game, I don't really think hurts them. I think what it allows them to do is to develop these younger receivers and get them out there so they can see what they have in him. And you saw Dante Thornton make a big catch, downfield, which is going to be his game. Now what you need from this offense is for them to be able to get this ground game going. And that's going to help Geno out even more once they have a ground game, because he lives and thrives off a play-action pass.
Yeah, we saw glimpses of Ashton Jeanty. But let me ask you this, JJ, before we get going. I mean, if you want to comment on this, you certainly can. But I actually want to get your thoughts as we change gears on Jalen Carter, because this happened last week now. But spit, got kicked out. We know everything that happened.
Full of veteran quarterbacks on the new team. Of course, Aaron Rodgers making quite the debut with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin Fields with the Jets. Russ with the G-Men, one that he maybe wants to forget. And then we have Geno with the Raiders, Daniel Jones with the Colts, and Sam Darnold in Seattle. We're going to grade the performances in just a moment, but let's get to Aaron Rodgers. Looking like vintage Aaron Rodgers, but this time in a Steelers uniform, had 4 touchdown passes against his former team in the Jets, leading the Steelers to their first dub of the season. And Rodgers, of course, being Aaron Rodgers, saying, I was happy to beat everyone associated with the Jets, because he's always good for a good soundbite, isn't he? And Justin Fields, who was Pittsburgh's starter early last season, who led the Steelers, if you remember, to a 4-2 start to the season before he got benched for Russell Wilson. Fields had 2 rushing touchdowns and threw a scoring pass in that loss to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so they were both good.
Yeah, exactly.
On the other side of the coin, Russell Wilson, who was never able to lead the Giants into the end zone in a 21-6 loss to the Commanders. Wilson, under 50%, 17 for 37, threw for 168. And Brian Dable, despite that performance, says they're going to be sticking with Russell Wilson this week, taking on the Cowboys. They ran 7 plays from inside the 3 and did not score a touchdown. Danny Cannell grading these old faces in new places. And Russell Wilson gets an F. An F. Aaron Rodgers, A+, Geno Smith, A, Justin Fields, B+, even in a losing effort. Daniel Jones was really good for the Colts in a blowout victory of the Dolphins, and Sam Darnold, C+ in his debut for the Seahawks. Let's bring in Danny Cannell, and we got to start with Russell Wilson here.
Professor Cannell.
Professor Cannell, yeah, thank you. I didn't even think teachers were allowed to give kids Fs anymore, but I guess you could give a grown man an F. Why not just go all the way, give him an F-?
Yeah, I mean, if I could, I would have. It was about as abysmal performance as you could hope for in a, opener against a division rival. They were not able to generate any sort of offense. I didn't think Russ looked comfortable in the pocket when there was pressure. He didn't know where to go with the football. It looked a little bit more like a dink and dunk version of Russell Wilson. And it was a worthy question. We had it on the postgame show last night. Like, should they actually make the switch to the rookie and Jackson Dart? And I think Brian Dable, clearly he has to handle this situation very delicately. I still think Russell Wilson gives